all bumpy and crazy.
Kind of like, you know, NASCAR in the water.
You'll probably get the breath knocked out of you.
It's the 2002 APBA Offshore Pro Series presented by Mercury, where the racing never stops. The Savannah Offshore Grand Prix. It's the fourth stop on the 2002 APBA Offshore Pro Series, the Savannah Offshore Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Savannah, Georgia for this, the fourth stop on the APBA 2002 Offshore Pro Series. I'm Dick Crippen, and along with Martin Sanborn, we're going to bring you some exciting racing today, and I can promise you it will be. Why? Because of the conditions. And Martin, conditions a little bit different down here.
Yeah, they are. Well, we're coming off of a very rough water race in Cape Cod that really nobody expected. I think everybody's looking forward to a little bit of a break today. We've got nice conditions out there right now, a little bit of a breeze, not too bad. The F1 boats should have a nice race today.
One thing about it for sure, good conditions or bad, we've got a competitive field all the way through. And competition is the name of the game when it comes to the Factory One boats. They're very equal. We'll talk more about that, but the points battle nationally is between this boat, Activator, and Flash Wave.
We're last year's national champ, and this year so far we've broken some parts, something we didn't experience last year. So we were able to get points in the first two races, and then of course we won in Cape Cod. So that puts us in a tie with Flash Wave, our buddies from last year from California. Yeah. So we're looking forward to this race. We're just hoping the wind picks up a little bit.
Yeah, we just spoke to them. We just interviewed them, and they said they're really going to run hard. They know they got their day put out for against you guys.
Yeah. If there's any kind of a sea at all, we'll have a side-by-side battle, and then of course if nothing breaks, we'll be there at the end.
I think we're tied for first.
Yes.
Got off to a slow start. Won in Cape Cod. It was big water. That was our water, and the wind's picking up now. Yesterday was dead, you know. It was going to be flat, so the wind's picking up. Hopefully it'll make for an exciting race, and, you know, maybe we'll get lucky and get another win.
Your throttle man said he broke some parts.
We broke all kinds of things. Yeah, and it's been a rough start. Between Daytona and Marathon, we hit another boat, and then Cape Cod was just rough, so the whole boat needed to go through, you know, every bolt, and it's ready to go now, though.
Well, we blew a drive yesterday, so we're just out seeing if the boat moves. We just got it back together, and it moves, so we're pretty happy that it moves. Now, if it's moving fast enough, that'll be determined in a couple hours.
Okay, throttle man, now it's your job.
My job's going to be easy today. The water's nice and light. We'll be running full throttle, and it'll be up to our driver, David Ream, to get us around the course.
So you're actually leading the points in Marathon, Cape Cod. What about today?
Well, we're hoping to extend that. We're definitely looking for a win, and we'd like to take home the checkered flag today and extend our lead in the points.
And you are third in the standings, is that correct?
Absolutely. After today, we should be in first. So we got high expectations to go out there. Unfortunately, yesterday we didn't get a chance to run the Keeler run because we ran out of time, and we thought possibly we'd be able to set a new record, but it just didn't happen. So we were a little disappointed about that, and now we're going to drive like with vengeance.
Well, the gloves have been thrown onto the table. The challenge has been made, and the fans of Savannah are gathering for the first time to see offshore powerboat racing. It's going to be exciting as the Factory One boats are now heading out of the pits. We'll be back to Martin. Let's talk about the course.
Well, in Savannah here we have a very short race course. A lot of turns, but the big turn is going to be turn 4, where they make more than a 90-degree turn. There's a small dogleg as you see that graphic going around the screen, but as it comes to this left-hand turn, they have more than a 90-degree turn to make the upward pass along the beach. The big strategy is going to be set up for acceleration on this race course. Looking at the factory class is spec engine racing, 24 to 30 foot in length, sealed HP 500 engines. It's going to boil down to the guys in the boat and the manufacturers of the boat to determine who wins in factory class.
And talk about equality, just take a look at the point standings. As you can see, Flash Wave and Activator are tied. Typhoon, Offshore Diction, and Propco Propellers all well within striking distance. The Daytona Harley-Davidson Pace Boat, the big Donzi with the yellow flag behind it, is now bringing the boats down. They're going to try to line them up as close as they can to a perfect line. It is a flying start. The green flag has flown, and we're off and racing. Right off the bat, Typhoon Racing is trying to take the lead away from High Energy. High Energy, the yellow boat, just on the inside of them.
You're green.
Boat up for the left-hand turn, but it's a ways in the distance. They have a little bit of room to do it. Typhoon Racing is still trying to lead the pack. Meanwhile, on the outside of them, two boats over. Propco Propellers is trying to take the lead and does. Right on the inside of him, however, is the High Energy boat. They are coming into that turn very fast and trying to position themselves.
Everybody's battling for that all-important inside line right now. Mark Kowalski in the High Energy boat moving towards the inside. He controls the lane right now.
We got it, we got it. Don't take it too tight, Mike. We got it, keep it in, Mark, keep it in, keep it in.
Mark Kowalski being told to keep the throttles in because he controls the lane, but they don't want to close the door on Typhoon Racing on the inside.
There it is, Mike. There it is in front of you, baby. Let's go get him. To your right, to your right, to your right, to your right. Go to your right. No, I got it, I got it, I got it.
Boy, when you come out of the lead in an F1 start, the energy is high, the adrenaline is pumping. You saw Mike McCarthy and Mark Kowalski really talking about where they wanted to be, but they are in the lead as they make their way towards the beach.
We look at High Energy setting up for the turn now. There's your third place boat, Typhoon Racing, which has not been involved in the lead chase so far. The big question is going to be, how are these two boats going to take the turn? It looks like the outside boat, Propco Propellers, is setting up to maybe try to dive to the inside of High Energy. High Energy coming up on the turn now. Let's go on board and hear the conversation.
Line up a corner, baby. Make sure we take it wide enough we can stay in it. Marco, come up on the right. Marco, tight, Marco. Hey, all right.
They're set up in good position to go into the turn right now. High Energy has the lead as Propco is getting ready to come in from the outside. He has the possibility to dive in from behind.
Keep it in. Easy, easy. Keep it in. Keep it in, keep it in. Hey, that's the chute to our left. There it goes.
That was Mike McCarley telling Mark Kowalski, stay in the throttles, don't let out. Mike was in control as they went around the turn. He wanted to maintain all the speed he could, but you saw how they were hopping through the turn. They were getting a bumpy ride.
And Propco Propellers decided to stay to the outside and keep their speed up on the high side. They are still riding in second place to this boat, the High Energy entry.
Well, Activator's done a good job. This is the second boat they've put into the fleet, but BJ Mayer did a great job with an Activator last year taking the national championship.
Meanwhile, Propco Propellers porpoising just a little bit, but trying to get that inside line. Now, Propco Propellers is a shorter boat. This boat, a little longer, is taking the waves a little bit calmer.
Well, length is everything in rough water. These guys are showing how well the boat runs, but you know, we got a chance to see this boat run last year with BJ Mayer and Mark Smith. The boat won the national championship because everybody knows the boat's fast.
And these guys know that back in second place, Propco Propellers is trying to close them down, but so far they haven't had a chance to get to the inside. They go in and then they go out. There they are trying to dive to the inside again.
Well, you get a chance to see the difference in strategy. You've got Mark Kowalski and Mike McCarley going a little wide. They carry a little bit of speed. Propco tried to go inside, but that cost him about 4 boat lengths because he couldn't carry the speed.
Propco Propellers is being held to the inside right now, and that isn't going to give him an awful lot of room on the buoy. If High Energy goes a little bit wider, he'll have a little breathing room, but see how close it was there? He could have reached out and touched it.
Well, they are definitely going the short distance around the race course, but it's not necessarily the fast way around the race course. They didn't lose any speed on that one, but that one was not the sharp turn. It's turn 4, where they have to make almost a little more than a 90-degree turn. There's no way you're going to be able to square that off and maintain as much speed.
Factory One Racing High Energy team is out in front. This boat, Propco Propellers, jumping high out of the water as they tried to grab it going in. We're back to racing in a moment. By Mercury Racing, where the race never stops. Dick Trippett along with Martin Sanborn. It's the Savannah Offshore Grand Prix. This boat, Propco Propellers, is now riding in second place.
These guys doing fantastic in this boat. A little bit shorter boat, but we have the calm water conditions, which is putting them out in front. These guys were not one of the guys that we kind of expected to see out in the front. The leader is also a newcomer to the front of the pack here in Savannah.
So High Energy is the leader. Second place is Propco Propellers. And third place is this boat, Glenn Murray and Randy Sluice in the Typhoon Racing. And Martin, we're getting a little bit of a different ride in this boat. They're riding back and forth on the back end of the boat.
Well, he's got his tabs down a little bit lower than the High Energy boat right now, but he's got a good set on the boat. He's taking a natural ride through the water. He's running a little bit more bow up than the other boat, but you know, in this calm water, you can get away with that.
Now, this is a boat that's very much in the point chase at this time, and as a matter of fact, they sort of predicted on the dock that they were going to be leading when the race is finished, but in order to do it, they're going to have to pass these two boats. The lead boat to the left of your screen, yellow in color, High Energy. Propco Propellers back in second.
Well, you got to love the cocky attitude of wanting to be out in the lead at the end of this race, but you're in really tough company. There are a lot of very strong competitors out there running right now, and there's a lot that can happen over the course of this race.
We talk about equality in these boats, and Martin, back in fourth place, fifth and sixth included, we have a tight pack.
These guys are all battling. Look at the strategies. They go through the turns right there. Oh, BJ Mayer goes right back behind Flash Wave, dives to the inside, makes a great move. He picked up about 4 boat lengths right there, moved himself into fourth place, right behind Velocity VR1. Very aggressive move right through a rooster tail.
Some great racing all over the field. It's just not up front, and certainly the leaders can't count out any of these boats. A hiccup by any of the lead boats, and these guys will be right up on top of them.
You know, it might look like there's a little bit of a distance between these boats, but you're absolutely right, Dick. One of these guys makes a small mistake, and there's going to be a change of position.
Jim Shearer and David Rem aboard Flash Wave now giving a great battle out there to BJ Mayer.
Those are the two guys that are tied for first place right now overall in the points, and they're running deck to deck along the beach.
And that means they are going to be tight in the turn, as they are. BJ Mayer gets a little bit of the rooster tail in front of him, and Flash Wave is forced way to the outside.
Flash Wave lost a little bit of distance on that. BJ Mayer was able to carry enough speed through the turn, even taking the inside line, but he took a lot of wash off of Velocity VR1 in front of him.
A lot of people forget that when you talk wake action off a car, it's invisible. There is such a thing, but wake action in a boat is very real, and you've got to drive around it or drive over it.
Here you see Velocity VR1. He dives across the field right there, just absolutely slams the door on Flash Wave. Really took him to the inside, forced Flash Wave to slow down. BJ Mayer coming around the outside. You can see the lines in the water as they went through. And here comes Chicks Beach Offshore right now, sitting in 7th place.
Gino Marone really getting a ride in that boat, Chicks Beach Offshore. He's having to battle a lot of wake action. That is the problem when you're behind the pack. You want to get yourself up into clear water if you can.
Here we are on board Chicks Beach. You can see how hard they're hitting. Oh, that looks like it hurt. Gino Marone took a big hit. He's holding his side. Looked like he took a little shot off the side of the boat. Lute Dickey looking over at him. What a hit.
That's what they have to overcome. Mike McCarley driving the High Energy along with Mark Kowalski on the throttle. They are the lead boat in front. They have the clean water. They're taking full advantage of it at this time, leading Propco Propellers.
He's got a perfect ride attitude on that boat, Dick. Look, you can see on the back, he's got his trim tabs all the way up out of the way, not even using them. Boat flying perfectly flat.
And he has opened up quite a margin on Mike Milligan and Steve Wessinger as they try to propel that Propco propeller boat further onto the course and get it closer to the leader.
And here's our 3rd place boat, Glenn Murray and Randy Sluice in Typhoon Racing, running in 3rd place, trying to close in on Propco. And here comes the other boat right now, tied for 1st place in the overall points, BJ Mayer and Mark Schneff in F1 Activator. Oh, you can see again how hard that hits when you're going through the wakes. Those two guys bang heads 2 times really hard. That has got to hurt, Dick.
Lead boat, High Energy, taking a bad hit.
Looks like they got off on a wave sideways, came in. It's a good thing they didn't hook the boat or spin it out, but both of them collide.
All right, they're back up and running. They didn't miss the buoy, but now they are in second place. Propco Propellers has passed them. We'll be back to racing in a energy boat for the Savannah Offshore Grand Prix. This boat just taken a big hit.
Hey, look, you know? I'm pissed. Be smart now, look at him.
They're aiming at Propco Propellers ahead of them, but look over their shoulder to the right. Typhoon Racing is trying to close them down. Propco Propellers is the lead boat. There you see them. Mike Milligan and Steve Wissinger, they're doing a good job, and they are in command.
You know, Dick, we said earlier, you make one little mistake in factory class, and you can go from the lead of the pack to the middle or the back of the pack. And look at the gap now we have in these boats as these guys move back. Several boats got by them. Those boats aren't in the same race, but they absolutely got bumped back quite a ways from one little mistake.
Now in APBA racing, we have several classes of boats running at one time. They are now running into traffic.
Yeah, you know, they went from being out in the lead of the race where they had all the clean water, they were running all by themselves. Now, not only did they have to get back behind another boat in their class, they have to worry about boats that are slower than them, that they were actually coming up to lap, and they're not in the first place position when they have to do it. Really changes the overall outcome of the race.
Give me that, Mark. Don't talk too much. Let's go.
Well, you got a chance to see right there, you know, after you take a hit like that, you get a little bit cautious. Whoa, you just see that boat right behind him, went around the turn, almost hooked the nose, hopped it.
Propco has lost it. Propco has spun out on the course.
What the? Hold it on. Down. Inside of the buoy, inside of the... Go to the right, go to the right, go to the right. I got him. Go to the right. There you go. She never run like this, Mike. She's running really fast. Nice and easy. We got to finish now. I know. We're good, baby. We're good, baby.
All right, they know that they have now gotten around Propco. Propco got themselves in trouble. We'll go back and find out what happened right there.
All right, dude, I got the buoy.
Race control on the boat. Yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag.
So the field will now run under a caution flag as they check out the accident scene down there. Propco Propellers was the boat that spun out on the course. They were riding in first place. High Energy has now taken over the lead. You heard them communicating on the boat saying, all we have to do is finish now. All we have to do is finish.
There's BJ Mayer and Mark Schneff. They have stopped to render assistance. They were on scene. They have now stopped on the inside of the turn to let people know that they need to go wide and stay out of the way.
Now they will not lose position when they are under the yellow flag and have offered assistance.
That's correct. They're going to get to come into the position they were at the time the incident occurred and maintain that position, or they will be scored. The amount of time that they stopped will be added back to their time.
Propco Propellers was leading the race. There you see the boat empty of Mike Milligan and Steve Wissinger. They were thrown out. High Energy is now in the lead.
We got a big lead now. We got to be smart. I know. Working for you. I got it.
They were in first place, got put back into second place by a mistake. Now they're back in first place from the mistake from Propco.
Mike McCarley and Mark Kowalski back in first place in the High Energy Racing Team boat. They are now going to try to play it smart, as you heard.
On the caution. On the top. On the pick us up. Boss, I got to pick us up. On the caution, boss. Not just the baseball, boss.
All right, what they're pointing out right now is the Daytona Harley-Davidson Pace Boat is making its way onto the race course. He is going to pick up the leader of the race overall, and we are going to go under a full course yellow, which means that all the boats are going to line up just like you see in all the other motorsports, Dick. You can't pass the Pace Boat. Everybody's going to bunch up for a restart.
They will line up in pairs behind the Pace Boat in their position as they are racing on the course. We'll be back and finish our Factory 1 race from Savannah, Georgia in just a moment. Savannah Offshore Grand Prix. Dick Crippen along with Martin Sanborn. We are under the yellow flag caution. The boats are forming up behind the Daytona Harley-Davidson Donzi Pace Boat. The rescue crews are on scene now. It appeared that both the driver and the throttleman were thrown clear of the Propco propeller boat. They will be checked out by the divers, and we ought to talk a little bit about the safety precautions that we take in an accident like this, Martin.
Anytime there's an accident that involves people going in the water, these guys get packaged up and they get sent to the hospital for checking. Mike Milligan and Steve Wissinger are going to be no exception. They're going to send these guys off to the hospital, get them checked out, make sure they're okay. There you can see the rescue crews getting ready to load them on a boat. They'll take them back in, and they're going to head over to the Coast Guard station where they will be flown to the hospital for checking.
We want to make sure that everything is good with them. You know, you could have an internal injury. We saw some of the impacts that are taken inside those boats. Let's take a look again at some of the problems that we've had in other boats on this course.
There you got a chance to see the impact from Chicks Beach Offshore earlier. You can see just how much energy is involved when the boat flies up, comes down and hits. Gino Marone holding his side. It's tough.
Here's another one as we saw the lead boat, High Energy.
Back to the docks.
It's rather obvious that the helmets are for more than protection if they go in the water. They're now loading the driver and throttleman from Propco propeller onto the rescue boat. As we said, they will check him out. Meanwhile, High Energy Race Team, Mike McCarley and Mark Kowalski are the current leader under yellow.
Maybe we'll finish under yellow. We will. This is the last lap, right? This is it, dude. Yeah, one more turn and we're done.
Well, you know, it's not unusual in other forms of motorsports, but this will be a first in offshore powerboat racing that we are actually going to finish the race under a yellow flag.
So they'll be side by side in pairs as they come down for the finish. Uh-oh, talk about some damage done on the course.
Offshore Addiction trailing their engine hatch behind them, but right now it doesn't matter. We're going to finish under a yellow flag, so the last time they went past the start-finish line, that is the order of finish that they will be scored in.
2 yellow flags flying off the Daytona Harley-Davidson Donzi Pace boat as they bring the leaders in the Factory 1 around. High Energy Racing will take the checkered flag. They had to battle the course and the field today.
He's got a checkered flag in his hand, Mike. I'd like that to be in my hands tonight. My boys' hands and our hands. Yep, we did it, man. Good job, dude. Hey, that's the key to staying in the boat.
They are absolutely correct, that staying in the boat, Dick. You know, that hit they took, you have every possibility of getting thrown out on a deal like that, and the only thing that kept Mark Kowalski in was the head of Mike McCarley.
That's it, that's it. Put it in there, baby. We gotta have that. Yeah! Good job, dude. Yeah!
We'll be back to talk with the winners in just a moment from Savannah. Where the race never stops. We're in Savannah, Georgia. Factory 1 Racing. High Energy takes the win. Typhoon back in second place, and we're going to have a mix-up in those point standings.
Well, it's not going to be too bad of a mix-up because we still had activator BJ Mayer sitting in third place, and he was the points leader, but Flashway was not up at the front, so there's going to be an overall change.
The water looks smooth out there, but these guys will be the first ones to tell you it was anything but an easy race. They took a couple of hard bounces, but they survived. They took first place. High Energy Race Team, Michael McCarley and Mark Kowalski, they have reason to celebrate with that checkered flag held high. Let's go down to the pits and hear from our winners.
We had it from the very first start. We went in the first turn, we had it. We had it all the way till we spun out in turn 1. One boat passed us, we caught them in another turn, and we had it from then on out. It was a great race, and a little bit rough sometimes, but boat handled great.
That's what the boat does. It handles well in the rough water.
Exactly. That's what it's built for. And we had some little bit of rough water today in the right spots, and it worked out great for us.
Mike did a heck of a job driving here. I don't really know what to say. I'm kind of in awe of all this. You know, it wasn't consistent. You know, it'd be smooth, and then all of a sudden there'd be like a 5-footer, and you know, we almost went over a couple of times, but thank the Lord we didn't. After we spun out, Propco, I think, got by us, and I said, let's just stand and we'll push them. We'll just try to push them and see, you know, let them make a mistake. I figured, you know, we already made our mistake. You know, we're not going to make 2.
Right, and that's what you kind of not hope for, but look for. When someone makes that wrong turn, you want to get right in there.
Right. I don't know what happened with them, but later I seen the helicopters. I just hope they were okay. They're good guys, and they're definitely veterans at the sport.
How long you guys been running together?
This is our 3rd race. We've never run together. Mike's never driven a race boat before until this year.
He's never driven a race boat.
Up until this is his 3rd race.
Oh, you guys did excellent. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, the F2 boats are getting ready to go in, and we expect we'll see some tough competition there. But first, let's have a word from our good friends at GM Vortec.
We have an HP3 Vortec engines in it this year.
Protect screens.
The engines have been totally reliable. Very unique. It runs better, it's stabler.
Under hatch, under hood.
And the motor's so intelligent, it actually cuts down on power before it does any damage to itself.
It's a beautiful thing.
Spent 2.5 hours at wide open throttle and 3 to 5 foot seas breaking it in, and we want to see if we could break it, and we couldn't.
Yeah, see, GM knew what they were doing when they got me and Steve together to race on a boat, because I'm prone to accidents and running boats as hard as I can, go sideways, throwing people out of them. And in 1998, I was in the Hall of Champions running a Factory 2 boat. I ran in the Factory 1 class, so my background, Steve's background, is running in these factory-style, stock-spec motors. And literally, we could not be more pleased with the way the Vortec HP3 8100 motor is performing in this class. We've got 9 boats, unheard of for a first-year class, all running as hard as you possibly can.
I think one of the major reasons why it is so durable is it has a greatly advanced engine management system compared to what is found in pleasure boats today. This engine protects itself, not unlike today's passenger cars. If it gets hot, it goes into protect mode. If it runs without oil, it goes into protect mode. It has a much more advanced ignition and engine control system than people see in boats today. You couldn't drive your car underwater, but we have driven this motor underwater, and it's survived it. It's gone on to win a race. So it really is impressive what GM has done. They've introduced new technology into boating, and I'm sure will change it for many years to come.
At General Motors, we're involved in both the passenger car and the marine markets. And those two markets help each other. I don't care what kind of consumer goes out and works with his truck, what kind of loads he puts in the back of that bed, what kind of loads he tows with it. He can't put it through the kind of extreme conditions that Michael just described here. And you know if it's going to survive that, it's going to last for a long, long time and run for a long time on the road.
Here on the river in Savannah, you see a little remote control model of the big Tommy Bahama boat. That boat will be one of them going for world speed records on this same river when we come back to Savannah, Georgia, where the race never stops. Welcome back to Savannah, Georgia. This is a look at the World Speed Trials that we held on the river. And this is Tommy Bahama getting ready for the run. Let's talk about the idiosyncrasy of this particular river and why it's difficult.
Well, you get a chance to see these boats are coming out of a turn. He was making a left-hand turn. Traditionally on a kilo, we take the longest possible straight run-up that we can get, and you want to go in straight. These guys had to make a turn around the river, which slowed down some of the top speeds a little bit because they couldn't get a straight run-up. They had to turn. Now, this boat has a little bit of an advantage over the entire fleet because of its rudder drive system, which is the only boat in the fleet that's allowed to have it because of it being grandfathered, and he doesn't scrub as much speed off in a turn, so it really helped him through the kilo.
So Tommy Bahama sets a record at 132.258, and we turn our attention now to the Velocity VR1 run.
Okay, again, you get to see them doing the same thing. They've got to come around, they've got to straighten out on the river and get lined up for the turn. So he's getting ready to make a little bit of a left-hand turn to come across. He's got the boat hopping more than he wants, but he's got it as loose as he can get it so that he can build a speed up. Before he goes through the kilo, he's going to let it settle down because when it's porpoising like that, it is not going as fast as it needs to be going.
This is the Velocity VR1. Steve Kildall and Scott McCormick. Steve Kildall is driving the boat. They've got it settled down beautifully. They are going through the traps right now. We'll take a time on it and see if they can get that world record. There you see it on your screen. There it is. The average speed two ways in the timing traps, 83.946 miles per hour for a new world record.
And here we're watching Vortec Extreme. That's Gary DeSoucies and Steve Miklos making their first pass. Again, they have to get themselves lined up on the race course so they get a straight shot to pick up as much speed as they can in their Vortec-powered Extreme.
They have settled that boat down beautifully. Look how smooth she's riding on the water. They've got to be very pleased as they push those sticks all the way forward, trying to maximize the speed from that big GM Vortec engine. There's a great shot of that boat coming down through the traps in perfect attitude. Let's run the clock on it and see if they set that speed. This is their second run of the day, so it's the average of the two speeds. And there it is, 89.672 miles per hour, another world record here in Savannah, Georgia.
We had 4 other world speed records set as well. In Factory 2, 35 feet and above, Speedwear Matco Tools with Todd Welling and Lance Hendrickson. Utz Quality Foods with Matt Rice and Mitch Miller. Dirty Duck with Slug Hefner and Alvin Heathman. And the Outlaw B10 been perfected.
Just some of the action that we've seen here in Savannah as the APBA Offshore Pro Series for 2002 visits. Now we're getting ready for more action in the Factory 2 boats. We'll be back with that in a moment. And like the Factory 1s, we have very equal competition.
The Factory 2 boats are the twin-engine versions of the F1s. These are production power boats, production hulls and decks, sealed HP 500 Mercruiser engines with Mercury Bravo drives up to 30 foot in length with mandatory weight scales and everything else. This again boils down to the guys in the boat and the hull itself that makes the difference in whether you win or lose in Factory 2.
We look at the point standings, and again, we've got a lot of boats that are within striking distance of the lead. Again, this is the midpoint of the season where they're looking at things and saying anybody can win.
There's a lot of boats up in contention for this, and again, you can be in the lead today, have a bad day, and find yourself completely out of the points run for a couple of races.
Green flag has flown, and we are off with F2 racing, and right off the bat, it looks like Herbot racing for a cure. Keith Herbot and Joseph Skokie have taken the lead in the F2s, but watch out. Team Donzi is right on the outside of them. They are going to try to come up in there, and they have found some power. They're going to try to nose them out.
What a great battle we have going on. Team Donzi, Herbot racing for your cure. Right alongside him, you've got Speedwear Matco Tools. You got 2 of the formulas right side by side. You got 5 boats all deck to deck here within 2 boat lengths of each other as they make their way towards turn 1.
And again, this is the longest straightaway on the course, and you can see Team Donzi now has tried to move itself into position. Oh, boy, did he get a little bit of air out there.
Boy, you know, that first rule is you never turn on top of a wave, and that's exactly what they did. They got the boat going sideways through the air. Lucky they landed it right side up.
Doug Valentine and Mike.
Big air. Keith Herbot gets some air, comes down a little bit nose first. It's definitely roughened up in the second race today.
Douglas Valentine and Mike Stancombe aboard the Donzi boat. Definitely know about it. There you see him, 3-2-1 as we focus in on our leader, Keith Herbot and Joseph Skokie. That's racing for a cure, and that is, of course, juvenile diabetes they're talking about right now. They got to hold on to anything they can.
And there we go, Speedwear. Matco Tools has moved into second place. Look at them hopping through the turns right there. They're going to go wide and carry as much speed as they possibly can. They've got about 2.5 boat lengths on Donzi right now, carrying all that speed. He's getting by Herbot racing for a cure right now as they run alongside the beach. Now, Herbot had the closer line, so he picked up that distance again. Right now, Speedwear Matco Tools on the outside. Donzi's going to dive to the inside, go right through the rooster tail. He wants the inside line as they go through the start-finish slot. Close battle for first, second, and third in Factory 2.
And Team Donzi has a little bit of a problem. They tried to go inside, then they tried to go back outside, got caught in the wake again. So Team Donzi now riding in third. The race up front is Speedwear, the far boat on your screen, and the inside boat is Keith Herbot and Joe Skokie, and they are aboard the Racing for a Cure boat. It is neck and neck as they go down this stretch, and this is not a long one. There's the turn. They make it through, and they're driving hard.
Now, right now, Keith Herbot and Joe Skokie are set on the outside of the next turn. You've got Lance Henderson and Todd Welling on the inside, and they're 38, but here comes a 38 Donzi coming up right on the outside. So these guys are going to be outside of the turn. Speedwear has the best line right now going to the inside for this slight right-hand turn. Todd Welling carrying it very high on the tail. Look at how high he's carrying it, but he's setting it down perfect. Keith Herbot has the lead right now going into turn 3.
When you jump these boats out of the water, you want to try to bring them down flat if you can. That's the best way to keep your speed up and keep going. And Donzi really cutting through it now and riding just on the outside of the wake of the lead boat, racing for a cure. And there's the boat now in third place. That's Speedwear, the boat driven by Todd Welling, throttled by Lance Hendrickson.
Here you see he's looking for some clean water. He's right in the wake right now, but he's going to move between the two. He's got clean water. He's accelerating, but he's going to want to get to the inside coming up for this left-hand turn.
As he goes into the turn, it looks like now Herbot Racing has dropped back to second place. Team Donzi has taken the lead through the turn. So the team, Doug Valentine and Mike Stancombe, have found the cure. They have gone past it, taking the lead in this race. Keith Herbot now second, and Speedware riding back in third. But look what's happened here. Speedware has started to come up hard on the outside, now trying to cut to the inside just like you predicted.
Classic Todd Welling move. He goes to the inside. He's cutting it off well. That boat turns so well. He moved to the inside and he picked up a little bit of distance. Here comes Herbot Racing for a cure, and here come the two formulas, R&S Racing and Total Marine Racing, running in fourth and fifth, two side-by-side formulas.
And it is now Speedware in the lead. Here's the battle for second place. On the outside, it's Herbot Racing. On the inside, it is Team Donzi. Look at those boats trying to handle this rougher water.
Well, the 38 Donzi's got a little bit of advantage over the small Scarab of Herbot Racing. He's got to battle a little bit harder. Oh! He stuck the nose in. He stuffed it, almost tripped the boat.
Take a look at that again.
Here you see he comes up nose heavy on the boat. He hits this next wave, sends it skying up. He trips it by coming in on the back, lands on the right side of the boat, and it forces a sharp right-hand turn.
Well, that cost him a little bit of speed and also a little bit of position, as you can see. Right now, we have Herbot Racing alone in second place.
Whoa, look at R&S Racing, how they squared that turnoff on the outside. Beautiful move. Coming up, they're actually going to catch Herbot Racing for a cure at the start-finish line.
Herbot Racing for a cure, trying to hold on to second place. Speedware is your leader, and look at this battle of nose-to-nose, identical manufactured boats. There's Donzi Racing. The Team Donzi went down. They apparently hit the turn wrong. They came, boy, we saw that bad bounce. I wonder if they broke something loose.
Yeah, I'll bet they jarred some of their fillings loose on that. When you hit that hard, it squares you out in the boat. It hurts.
There's Keith Herbot going by. He's in second place. This is now the battle for third. We have the Total Marine boat along with R&S Racing, and it looks like Total Marine trying to move up and grab that position away if they can. Donzi is back under power.
You know, those guys hit so hard that they shut down one of their engines right in front of the start-finish line, but they're back up underway. But what a break. Herbot Racing is now in the lead because Speedware has spun out and he snapped a drive off in turn two.
So Keith Herbot and Joseph Skokie in control of this race at the moment. They'll have a challenge here shortly as we had Total Marine and R&S fighting it out in second and third, respectively. We'll be back to see how it finishes in a moment. By Mercury Racing, where the race never stops. We're in Savannah, Georgia for the Savannah Offshore Grand Prix, and look at the race we've got going on here on the course.
What a battle we have right there between the two formulas, R&S Racing and Total Marine. That is why Formula is the 2001 Constructors Champions in factory class. Those boats are very evenly matched right now, battling for second and third, trying to chase down Herbot Racing for a cure.
And it is really tight when you consider how far back those boats were just before we took the break, and you see where they are now. You realize the speed that's being developing, and I believe right now Herbot Racing is just trying to hold them off, just try to find enough speed to stay ahead of those guys. I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, Herbot Racing for a cure has a little bit of a weight advantage, but he's given up a lot in length to those two 38-foot formulas. You can see him hopping through the turns. It's a little harder for him to carry that speed. And here comes Donzi right now. Although they stopped, they are in fourth place. They are running like wild men trying to get caught up to the pack.
And there you see a couple of headshots of those wild men, Doug Valentine and Mike Stancombe. They have been very determined after the boat took that bad bounce and they seemingly lost power to one of their engines. They got things back up. They're now back up in fourth spot, but they are closing in on the front runners. Keith Herbot Racing for a cure with Joe Skokie on board that boat doing the throttles. They have taken another margin of lead over second and third place. They're driving a great race.
Well, speaking of second and third race, there's been a change. Donzi Marine has moved their way ahead. They've gotten by R&S Racing with Howard Richardson and Jack Storley, and now they're making a play on Total Marine Racing. They're going to try to get ahead of Carl Sadia and Tom Caruso to move into second place.
This has really shaped up as the battle because Donzi has found the speed. They're closing in on the second place boat. There you see the Total Marine Racing boat, Carl Sadia and Tom Caruso, that big formula trying to hold off that Donzi, Team Donzi. Mike Stancombe and Doug Valentine now taking the far outside. Now it looks like they're trying to cut through the wake, see if they can get to the inside of the course and run the shorter distance.
This is what I love about factory racing. We have two major manufacturers duking it out right here between Formula Powerboats and Donzi. And here comes Donzi coming up on the inside right now. He's found some speed. He's running in the white water. Looks like he is going to get Total Marine Racing, and there he goes. He's got Total Marine Racing. He is now in second place.
Boy, this is a battle. Total Marine Racing isn't going to give up that easily, though. We'll see if he can hold it in there. Right now, it appears Team Donzi has the advantage of the run. He is knifing through that water. Now he has his sights set on but one boat. That is the boat driven by Keith Herbot and throttled by Joe Skokie. It is the Herbot Racing for a Cure boat that has the lead. And there you see them. They likewise developing great speed. They're jumping a little bit more out of the water, being the shorter boat. But I'll tell you what, it hasn't cost them yet.
Well, it's costing him a little bit in speed, Dick. You can see as he's running, if you look closely at the back of the boat, you can see that his trim tabs are down. He's doing that to keep the nose of the boat down so he doesn't fly in the rougher water. That 38-foot Donzi's got a big advantage over him in this rough water, that he's able to carry much more speed. And Team Donzi, look at the distance he's made up just since that last leg.
But boy, we talk about boats bouncing in the water. Team Donzi, as he came into that turn, again, caught a little bit of air. They've definitely hung that boat out there. They're pushing every ounce of energy they can into those engines and getting those props to grab that water hard and throw the boat forward.
Here come the two formulas, RNS Racing and Total Marine Racing. Again, very evenly matched boats. Again, that is why Formula does such a good job in factory racing.
This is what it's about, equalizing it so that really the race comes down to the throttleman and the driver and the strategies they use as a team. Thinking as one, feeling the boat as one. If they react properly, they get the speed out of the boat, everything goes right for them. They too can get up into the lead and try. Meanwhile, we see Snap-on, the F246, Wilma and Brian Ross out of Canada, husband and wife team. They do a fine job together, and it's great to see husbands and wives out here. We've got that actually in several classes. Right now, they are running in fourth. But Team Donzi has developed as the story out here. Team Donzi has gone into the lead. On the backstretch, they managed to get by Herbot Racing for a Cure. So Team Donzi, Doug Valentine, and Mike Stancombe now have the lead. Can they hold on to it?
Looks like they're coming across the start-finish line in first place. It looks like they are indeed going to take the win ahead of Herbot Racing for a Cure. It looks like it got just a little bit rougher out there, and it gave that 38-foot Donzi the advantage that they needed to take first place.
Team Donzi wanted to come in and do a good job up in Savannah, Georgia. There's the checkered flag going out off the Daytona Harley-Davidson pace boat, and right now it is being waved for Team Donzi. So congratulations to Doug Valentine and Mike Stancombe. They give you a little wave off of the cockpit there above the canopy. They are happy, as are Nick Miller, Steve, and the rest of the Donzi crew standing on the shoreline here in Savannah with a win under their belts.
Well, here's how it translates down for those of you that are pleasure boat owners and like to know how your teams do. We had Donzi taking first and fourth. We had Scarab in second, and we had Formula in third and fifth. What a great representation of the manufacturers in factory class racing.
Well, it shows that the class is proving to do exactly what they wanted it to do. It's good, equal racing all around, and they definitely have competition on the course. You think Mike Stancombe's a little happy with that flag?
Probably the most intense start I've ever been through in offshore. It was incredible.
Doug did an incredible job driving today. We had a couple unfortunate mishaps. Boat got a little out of shape. He pulled it back around. I slammed the throttles back, put them back down, and rock and rolled.
We are one, buddy. Tell you what.
Man, I tell you, our intercom went out before the start of the race, so we had no communication at all, zero. So we were just, let's see what we can do, and you know, it just all came together at the end there. And when we went for first place, we were just praying, you know, 2 more laps, baby, 2 more laps. Come on, God, be with us. So.
We'll see you next time again from Savannah, Georgia. For Martin Sanborn, I'm Dick Crippen. So long, everyone. Promotional consideration by Snap-on Tools, official tool provider of the 2002 APBA Offshore Pro Series. APBA Factory Class Racing, presented by Donzi Marine.